Well, the word migraine means a really bad headache, but many migraine sufferers also have other mysterious symptoms of poor balance, abnormal sleep patterns, fatigue, sinus pressure, fibromyalgia, and abdominal complaints. To understand the variability and range of migraine symptoms, it's helpful to understand 5 concepts. The first point is that migraine is essentially a broken nervous system. It tends to make our body either overreact to stimulation or simply produce pain and other symptoms spontaneously. Migraine is a condition of hypersensitivity or hyperreactivity. Furthermore, there's no single error in the nervous system. Migraine is a spectrum of physiologic problems with a kaleidoscope of symptoms. Since migraines often involve facial pain, it's useful to focus on the trigeminal nerve because it provides sensation to most of the head. The trigeminal nerve is a network of nerve fibers divided into 3 branches, each attached to sensors. Those sensors are located in our facial skin, mucous membranes, muscles, tendons, and teeth. And when stimulated, they send signals to the brain to let us know what's going on in the world. In general, we think of a symptom as an unexpected, often unpleasant feeling. For those with migraines, symptoms such as a headache, nausea, or light sensitivity occur when a nerve does not respond to a stimulus in a normal way. A common example of a variation on migraine headache is what may happen within our sinuses. Some mild stimulation or perhaps spontaneous activation of the maxillary branches of the trigeminal nerve causes an unexpected facial pressure. Secondarily, the nasal autonomic system is triggered, and a person now feels congested with a running nose, but without an infection or allergies. It is no surprise that individuals and physicians alike misinterpret these symptoms as chronic or recurring sinusitis. There are, in fact, several possible triggers of a migrainer's defective system. It might be a fluorescent light, a touch, or inflammation. It could also be food, sound, motion, stress, irregular sleep, barometric pressure changes, and other triggers. And how a migrainer reacts to a trigger varies from person to person. The second concept is that migraineurs are born with a defective nervous system. While it is clear that migraine disorders occur within families, the details of the genetics have been difficult to figure out. Because migraine disease is not just 1 or 2 genetic mutations. Instead, the problem lies in large pieces of genetic code. More than 20 different defective segments have already been identified in migraineurs. Let's remind ourselves about how the nervous system works. If we go back and look at a trigeminal nerve branch, we see how it is made up of a bundle of similar neurons. Each individual neuron has a cell body with long extensions. When specialized sensors are stimulated, an electrical message starts on its way to the brain. But it is actually the flow of charged ions crossing the membrane of a neuron that generates that signal. An electrical wave then moves rapidly towards the brain. At some point, each neuron reaches its limit, and the signal must be transferred to the next set of neurons. Here, chemicals called neurotransmitters are released into the synapses, where receptors on the adjacent neurons must detect the neurotransmitters before regenerating the electrical message. It is during this complex process that mistakes can be made. Think of a genetic defect as a mixed-up message about how the cell is to make things. For example, one of the known genetic defects of migraine is one where the cell is instructed to produce a protein that cannot fold into its normal 3-dimensional shape. When positioned in the cell membrane and an electrical signal comes along, The defective protein may open up and let calcium ions into the cell, but it might not be able to snap back into its fully closed position, allowing too much of the electrically charged calcium into the neuron. In this case, the neuron would keep generating an electrical signal, almost like an echo. The consequence is that the neuron has overreacted to a stimulus. The third concept is that the abnormal electrical signals of one set of neurons may affect the behavior of adjacent ones. Let's look at the brainstem. This is the crossroads of much of our brain circuitry. It is here that information collected from all over our body congregates in clusters of cell bodies called nuclei. When electrical signals arrive in one nucleus, they may be rerouted to other parts of the brainstem, thalamus, and cortex. These nerve centers have exotic names such as the trigeminal nucleus, pulvinar, dorsal raphe, and locus coeruleus. The fourth concept is that migraine can evolve from an occasional intense event to one of frequent, annoying, and sometimes debilitating symptoms. One explanation is that with each migraine headache, there is the release of many chemicals that initiate new neural activities, cause blood vessels to change size, or signal immune cells to start an inflammatory reaction. Many migraine medicines attempt to neutralize these chemicals. Over time, repeated inflammation appears to cause damage and change to the neural circuitry and the brain's blood supply.